Good afternoon, everyone watching. Welcome to our March 2023 Your Overseas Home virtual event. And thank you for joining our webinar on overseas removals. So we're going to look at all the process of moving abroad and things you need to be thinking about, and hopefully answer any questions you might have about that process. My name's Richard Way. I'm an international property journalist and a writer on the Property Guides team. So I'll be hosting this session. But most of it is going to be given to you by Claire Duff, who's kindly joined us. Claire works for Dory Bonner, who's an established international removal specialist. And Claire's going to talk us through the steps involved in overseas removals and give us all lots of useful information for anyone who's planning a move abroad. Thanks for joining us, Claire. I know you're up in Scotland. So thanks very much for giving up your time. Dory Bonner have got a booth in the main exhibition hall as well, so you can go and visit Claire and colleagues there if you've got any other questions afterwards, and she can help you. It's great to have you watching today. Thank you. So this is a live event now, but the session's been recorded and it will be available on the Your Overseas Home website from Monday onwards, I believe. So if you want to revisit it or want to share it with people, that's what you'll be able to do from Monday. Just in terms of structure, Claire's got a presentation for us, so I'm going to hand over to her in a minute and she's going to go through that, and hopefully you'll have questions as well which you can put to Claire, and we'll wait to the end to answer them unless there's something that's relevant to what you're talking about, and then, as I said, you can carry on conversations in the booth afterwards. That's all from me, I think. So Claire, do you want to kick off? Just tell us a bit about Dory Bonner and then, yeah.
I will do, yeah. I'll just start off then. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet everyone. What I'll do is I will start by sharing my screen, if that's okay. Yep. I'll just go live into it, just check everything's working okay, if everybody can see that okay, yes?
Looks great from my end, yeah.
Perfect, great. So, as obviously Richard advised, my name's Claire Duff. I'm from Dory Bonner International. We're a removal company. We obviously ship worldwide, anywhere you'd like to go. Now, obviously choosing the right removal company is quite important, obviously peace of mind, but it's like picking everything. You need to obviously, put peace of mind and decide what's important. Main words we obviously think is professionalism, expertise, service and reputation should really be a priority when you're looking at all removal companies. It's very important to do that. So that's why it's important to know a wee bit about the removal company as well. So as I said, we are Dory Bonner International. We've been established for over 90 years. We're nationwide. As you can tell from my accent, we have got branches up in Glasgow and Edinburgh as well, but we've got branches throughout the whole of the UK. We are one of the leading international removal experts, so we are here to help in any way possible, and welcome any questions as well. Choosing the right removal company is important, and the reason it's important is for many different aspects. There are hundreds of removal companies I'm sure you're aware of, and you've probably used them in the past, but they're not always equal. Everything's very different with every removal company, and you need to keep that in mind. Like for when comparing quotes and things like that. Start by doing your research. Personal recommendations are always best. Use the internet, trade associations, word of mouth, things like that are always great. We use a lot of tools like Trustpilot and a lot of companies and websites that a lot of our customers give really good feedback on. So it's good to go online, read them, and then you'll know you've made the right decision as well. As I said, personal recommendations, a friend, a family member, a work colleague, somebody that's emigrated before is always great. Removals is no different from any other industry. It's always good to get a recommendation of who's the right to use. As I said, the internet, forums, there's lots of online forums when moving overseas. You've probably used them, looked online as well, which might be why you're at the exhibition today as well. There are very important trade associations that are important when picking a removal company, and personally I would only recommend you use a company that has them. The BER, which is the British Association of Removals, is one key one. FEDI, which is the Customs Regulations and Rights, which help you and assist you with all customs, what you are allowed to or not allowed to ship in and out of the country. and then the International Association of Movers as well. So as you can see, we've got all three, all very important for all different aspects of moving worldwide. Obviously the shortlist, it's very important to be part of the process of moving. You want a professional removal company. You want to make sure that they come out to see you. You want to make sure that you are aware of how they've calculated the cost of the quote, what it's based on. For example, if you're sending a few items, a few boxes, you want to make sure that the volume and the goods have been quoted accurately. A telephone call can be helpful, but it's never accurate. Estimated costs are never accurate. It's always good to get a video survey or someone out to your house to walk around and make sure it's accurate when it's involved. As I said, online quotations, what you want to do is make sure that you have been given all the information online. As I said, I'd say the survey's accurate, but you want to make sure that everything's been taken into account, that you know exactly what's been calculated in your quote. So for example, if you're taking 3 beds, a dining table, if you're taking boxes, what personal effects you need. So it needs to be very clear in that aspect. So with regards to the survey, what's really important with regards to the survey is when the consultant comes out to see you or does a video survey walk around with you. It gives you that opportunity to take the knowledge from the consultant, ask as many questions as you like as you're walking around. They'll also share their experience and what works best with different ways of doing the move. And what I mean by that is you can do a sole use or a shared container. Sole uses are a lot quicker, but a lot more cost effective. Shared loads take a lot longer, but are more beneficial cost wise because you're technically sharing it with another customer that obviously goes with that company. You want to ask about time, if you've got time constraints, if you've got a certain time it's got to be there by, when you're getting the keys for the new property, you want it to arrive as close as possible. And cost is obviously a key implementation as well, so you want to make sure that it's the right cost. If you've got a budget in mind, we can work with you to do that as well. What you want to make sure is when you do get the written quotation from the removal company, you want to make sure that it detailedly covers certain points. For example, it detail and clearly gives you a list of what was discussed. It details the volume that the quote covers. It details the service destination. It's a door-to-door cover and fully gives descriptions of the custom requirements. Really the whole package is what you're looking for, especially internationally. Insurance is very key, obviously in any international move. As you can imagine, you insure your home standing still right now. Bear in mind your household effects are going to be shipped worldwide and going across the world, so you want to make sure you've got adequate cover in place. Just for peace of mind, a marine insurance cover does tailor you any way you like. You can insure as much or as little as you like, and it is a door-to-door basis, so it covers for the second that we enter your home, so the minute that we drop it at the property as well. The good news with kind of customs and things, you can ship most things, and the onus is obviously on yourself. We can only steer you and guide you. Custom regulations vary for every country, so every country is very different. So please come to me about what country you're going to, and I can send you the custom regulations for that specific country. Bear in mind they are quite a lot of information, and it covers absolutely everything. So if you've got a specific question, please just ask, because I probably know the answer to it, and I can answer it probably quite quickly. But make the most of, as I said, your consultant, myself, or whoever's out to your house, and ask those questions, because as much as we walk around the house, we don't know every single item that you're shipping, so it is good to just double check and go over everything with us, some obscure items or items that you've maybe purchased in different countries for shipping. That's really all the information I've got at the moment. I welcome you all to my booth, and thank you so much for your time.
That's great. Thanks very much, Claire. I've got some questions for you, actually.
Great.
When do you advise people first start talking to you or their removals company before? How far in advance of their planned move? How long does it take to organise things and plan it? And
of course, yeah. I think what most people normally do is we're kind of the last point of contact. They try and do everything else first and they leave us to the end, which personally I wouldn't always recommend. What you really want to do is create a whole budget, and removals as part of that budget. So you really want to kind of do it now and put it in place now. So to be honest with you, there's no early time to do it. You can contact us now.
Because I'm thinking about planning your if you're using a container, if it's being shipped, or is there a minimum lead-in time that you need to organise that? I mean, what's the soonest you could do a removals if I suddenly had to move next
again,
week or the week after?
Yeah, again, we can do it very quickly as well. So if you're looking at a short term or a quick move, we can literally get it picked up very quickly. The only thing that causes some delays is the customs paperwork and some of that. But if you need to be out of the property, we can very easily collect it, move it into our storage facility. We've got storage facilities throughout the whole of UK while the paperwork's being dealt with and done, and then we can quickly get it shipped as well.
Okay. And just talk about the difference between a long haul and a short haul, so if someone's moving to Australia, New Zealand compared to Spain, France, it's a different process, isn't it? Because you're going to use road or you're going to use container, or what? How does it work?
Yeah, so the likes of more internationally kind of sea-based ones would be a container, a storage size container. Now we can do a sole use container, which is a full container, or a shared container, which is kind of classed as groupage. And that takes, you could be in the region, the sole use is a lot shorter depending on where it goes. And the shared container normally has double the transit time, and that is, the benefit to that is the cost implications, because it's a lot cheaper to do it that way because you're sharing it with our other customers. Now, with regards to European more road services, obviously we use the ferries, and our vehicles go over by on the ferry, and they normally, reach France, Italy, etc. by roads. They are a lot quicker, and they can be done within a week, or if you're doing more of a shared option, they're kind of 4 to 6 weeks, so it's a lot quicker.
Yeah. Okay. Got a question here about Cyprus. How long would a normal shipment take to Cyprus?
So with regards to Cyprus, it depends where it's going. It really depends on what area of Cyprus and who we would be using. So what I would recommend, the person that's asked the question, come to the booth. I'll ask some questions about what area and where, and then I can find out some exact transit times for them.
Okay, thank you. And in terms of the actual packing and preparing, do most of your clients, do you do the full packing thing like you would do in a normal UK domestic move, or do clients pack themselves for an overseas one? What's the
to be honest with you, it's a personal choice, but for customs and things, it is quite detailed and we need quite a lot of information. So majority of our customers, I'd say about probably 80% of our customers will get us to pack, and the reason they'll do that is, one, probably the standard of packing and wrapping we do. It's very different to a local house move. We do it's export wrapping protection, so a lot of things are carded, and it's like a kind of bubble export wrap. All furniture is done by this. We also take a detailed inventory of everything. Everything's stickered, numbered, and detailed with the customer's names and numbers. And that's just so that for customs, if they choose to pull out of an item, they can check it very easily and don't have to go through the full consignment. So if, for example, a customer decides to go down the route of packing themselves, not a problem at all, but they do need to give us quite a lot of information on what's in each box.
That's quite useful, because now obviously as well with Brexit, there is a customs process to go through now.
Yes, so it's a lot more detailed.
Yeah. So what is the process now with the customs and having to get out, crossing borders? Is that something you guys take in hand as part of the move? How does that all work?
So we do everything for you. Obviously, Brexit is very different now. So, but that I actually, European's one of my kind of specialist areas. So I do a lot of Europe moves. And at the moment with Brexit, we're getting very used to the customs paperwork. It is a lot more detailed than it used to be, as you can understand. But what we do is we do it from start to finish. So the customer, we go out to see the customer and we steer them right with everything. So any bit of paperwork, passport or form that we need them to complete or supply, we steer them and tell them what we need, so the customer doesn't have to be left confused or unsure. We kind of steer them through the whole process from start to finish. Yeah.
What sort of things can cause problems now? Any particular types of item, or
No, the main problem just now is the taxes and duties probably. Not
Yeah.
everyone has the rights to ship things in tax-free. So I think a lot of people think that they do. So a lot of that information is just finding out a bit of information from the client. You know, what's their nationality? Where have they been living for the last year? Have they lived in that country for any length of time? And what's their reason for relocating there? And just with a few questions from me, I can very easily get the answer from them.
Okay. A couple of other questions from listeners, watchers.
Great.
Can you export a car full of household items to south of Spain? So
You can't load the car, unfortunately. The car,
You
it has to
can't.
go in
No.
No, you can't load the car up. We can ship the car, that's not a problem at all, but you can't actually load the vehicle itself. You need to have it, we need to itemize the items. To be honest, it's not the right way to do it. So what I would do is I'd probably steer them towards me, because they do need certain permits as well to be able to ship it in. So if you steer them towards the booth, and I will send them to the correct custom guidelines and the correct websites that they need to go on and check that the car would be actually okay to ship over and would get into the country.
What would be the reason? To save money, I suppose, because you're using your car as a container. Is that the idea?
I think that's what that's what a lot of people try to do, but they are quite strict on certain cars going in and out of certain countries. And also you've got to have owned the car for longer than 12 months, free of any outstanding finance as well. And there is certain emissions and things with certain countries. So you've just got to be quite careful that you've got the right to ship it before we even look at it.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. And then Dorothy asks, do you do an unpacking service at the other end? So obviously you'll help people pack for their move, and once their items arrive in France, Spain, wherever, you can do an unpacking service. And then with all the packaging as well, do you take all that away, or what happens with that part, the final part of the process?
Of course, we can do as little or as much as you'd like us to do. Now, the unpacking service, we can unpack everything and place it onto surface tops and take all the wrapping and protection away. Now, even if we don't unpack, we do unwrap all the furniture and take all the wrapping and protection away when we set it up into the house. Then you're left with your boxes to unpack at your leisure, or as I said, we can do the unpacking service if required.
Okay. And I want to ask, I mean, inevitably there are delays in these processes and things hold, you know, your lorries up or your shipments up. So coordinating timings with people who are expecting their belongings to arrive at a certain date, it might be late. What happens in those? There must be flexibility. Do you offer some kind of storage at the other end if you're early and it's not the items can't be put into the house at that point, or do you offer storage? Yeah,
there's different, obviously, as you can imagine, I've been doing this myself for 15 years, so there's many different aspects that can arise when relocating. With regards to, in most countries nowadays, we have agents in each country, and very, very good agents. Is the only agent we use in most countries. We've got very good relationships. You'll see them on our website as well, and it gives us the facilities to store stuff if this happens. It also gives us the advantage to offer some of the unpacking service and some assistance in those countries that are required.
Okay, great. And did I read as well that the BAR, they offer some type of insurance for if something happened to a client's items, or the company delivering it went into liquidation or something, there was an insurance that covers that. Is that right?
So the BAR is a protection. That's why personally we don't recommend you to use a removal company without the BAR. The same with the International Association of Movers as well. That's an international affiliation as well.
Yeah.
So to be honest with you, I wouldn't recommend, if it's not ourselves, then I wouldn't recommend using a removal company that doesn't have these affiliations.
Yeah, no, perfect. That's the reason they're there, isn't it? It's
of course, yeah, and it protects our company protection as well. It doesn't just protect the customer; it protects us as well.
And in terms of preparing for a move, what do you advise customers do to make it a smooth process? I mean, are there things that you say about the way they organise their items before they're packed, or
Yeah, personally, my advice always is, and it just always has been my advice, is any passports, travel documents, or anything you're taking with yourself, make sure they are completely in a safe area away from anything. We've had cases in the past that people leave them in their bedside cabinets. We have had a case before that has been placed in our storage facility and picked up, and luckily not shipped yet, so was easy to access. But I always just recommend anything that's not to be shipped to be put in a safe area, away from the removal staff, and told. What the removal staff do is when they arrive, the drivers in charge, they have a walk around with you before anything even begins, and that's the opportunity for you to point these things out. For example, nothing in that bedroom, or etc., so that they're very clear on what's going on, what's not. But yeah, my personal, you also want to make sure you've had a declutter and that there's nothing in the house, because the guys obviously pack, they don't look through what they're packing, they just simply wrap and pack everything they see. So they're not going to sit and wait for you to tell them. So the best thing you could do is declutter best you can, so that when we arrive, everything that's in the house is what's to go.
Yeah. And what things are an absolute no? What things can't you take? There must be items that you can't get across, you can't take across the border.
So it really depends what country. So every country is very different. Every country has strict rules. Most countries are very similar in the way that no soil and dirt. Plants are a lot of. If you need to ship plants, you need permits for certain countries, or some countries are just absolutely not. It won't go in. But as I said, soil and dirt, really anything from our country outside into another country. You know, pine cones, seashells, anything that could have had living creatures, you've got to be very careful with. Also nowadays, we are becoming more electrical, electric bikes and things like that. Now a lot of electric bikes need permits, where before it used to be not an issue. You know, things like that they are watching, because nowadays electric bikes, electric scooters can go quite fast, so there are permits and speed limits now as well.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point.
To be honest with you, if there is some, my advice would be, if you're unsure or you're not sure about an item, always ask the question before you ship it.
Yeah. What's the strangest thing you've ever done for an overseas removal? Can you think of it?
Strangest, so to be honest, seashells is one that a lot of people collect seashells everywhere they go.
Yeah.
And seashells for certain countries, Australia mainly, need an import permit, because obviously it's had living creatures in it. So stuff like that's quite unusual. Yeah. To be fair, I've seen a lot of things from different countries, and I had to ask a lot of questions before they're shipped in. But to be honest with you, that's what we're here for. And you're better to use us and get us to ask all the information and find it out before you. Last thing you want is to arrive into the country and have any issues. So you're better to do it in advance. We get it all teed up already, and if there is something that's a bit of a question mark, we can have it at the front of the container so that the customs agent checks it straight away. So there are ways around getting these things done as well.
And I know Doripana doesn't do pets. You don't do pets, do you? No. So who could help you with pets?
So we have a couple of companies that we use. So if somebody wants to come over to the booth, I can recommend some companies for them within the round about their area. So there's a couple in the UK that are highly recommended by us, so I can pass on their details or give them the company's details if they like. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Well, if we don't have any more questions, we can wrap it up there. But as Claire said, she's going to be on the booth for the rest of the event, so you can go and find her there and type in your questions, and she'll help you out. Otherwise, hope it's been useful. Like I said, you can watch this again on the Your Overseas Home website from Monday. I believe it will be going up there, so you can do that. Otherwise, good luck with your plans to buy and move abroad. Everyone watching, thank you, Claire, for giving up your time and sharing all your knowledge. Much appreciated. Yeah, so that's it. And thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the event, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.